959.
959.
On the street.
On the air. On the air. On the air.
Right, just after 7:30, you are listening to Kaya Biz here on Kaya 959. You've been awfully quiet, my people. Do share your voice notes, 063-688-0959. Whether you're an entrepreneur, you know an entrepreneur, perhaps have a desire to become one. We want to hear from you. We've covered a lot of content tonight, specifically focused on the dynamics, the blueprint of being an entrepreneur, how competitive you need to be, building the necessary markets, funding opportunities that you need to be mindful of, and of course, as you've heard, how this plays a critical role in your overall wealth planning. Yes, we're chasing invoices, but we also want long-term returns, tax efficiency as well in our planning. Tonight, we're going to talk about one particular industry that is one of the easiest ways for South Africans to gain entry into entrepreneurship with the necessary support: franchising. Now, these are scalable opportunities that most founders overlook. To tell us more about the franchising fraternity in the country, we're joined by Larry Hodes. He's the CEO of Grow Franchising and board member of the Franchise Association of South Africa, known as FASA. Such a pleasure to have you with us, Larry. Welcome to the show.
Great. Thanks, Gugu. And I must say, what a great show you've been putting on. So I've been loving it.
Oh, thank you. We love that you enjoy it, Larry.
Yeah, big time.
Definitely. And I must say, you've probably listened to many a show. You've participated in many a broadcast. You've spoken to many entrepreneurs. And that's largely because you have more than 30 years of experience, Larry, coaching, training, and supporting entrepreneurs within their mindset, and also, I guess, just assisting as a business consultant. So you've clearly seen a lot in the last 3 decades. And maybe let's just start there. What does the landscape look like? You know, we're 6 years post the pandemic, in a new dynamic in terms of South Africa's democracy. But what is the operating environment like for franchisees?
Look, I think, on the one side, people are quite conservative in their thinking, still, we've perhaps made a little bit of progress with the Middle East and all of that, because unfortunately, things like that play a role. Like they say, when it comes to stock and everything, it's a sentiment that really drives prices. So, but at the same time, there's still great opportunities, Gugu. Really, there are wonderful opportunities to grab. Yes, it's easier said than done, but with the right assistance, the right mindset, with the right structure, strategy, I really believe that there's great opportunities out there.
100%. I'm glad you mentioned that, because this is also where you often help businesses find clarity by setting the direction, by working with the leader, thriving on operational excellence,
Yes.
as well as winning teams. You can tell I did my homework, eh?
Oh, big time. I'm loving this.
But I think that plays such a critical role, especially when it comes to franchisees, right? I've heard many a story, Larry, where South Africans either receive a windfall, withdraw money from their pension, maybe approach retirement, and decide, you know what, I just want a business that will make me easy money on an ongoing basis so that I have annuity income. But being a franchisee doesn't mean sitting at home waiting on a pretty check to come in whilst the staff does the work. It's a lot more involved than that. Give us some context, because from what we understand, there's an article that notes that 63% of South African franchise brands have fewer than 30 stores. So that tells us that, I guess, there isn't much growth or opportunity or advancement and success for the franchisees themselves.
So let me answer that in 2 ways.
Sure.
The first one, I'm just going to share a story with you, Gugu, is so I worked for Mug and Bean many years ago, and for quite a few years. Mm-hmm. And I was part of the team, the exec team. So if somebody wanted a franchise, they had to come and present to us, and we decided between us, is this person suitable or not? And often my role would be to talk them out of it, because exactly like you say, they've got a windfall, they've got that they've been able to take out their pension or whatever the story is. And they say, you know what, I want to open up, because it was Mug and Bean, so I want to open up a Mug and Bean. Then you ask them why. Oh, no, I love catering. I love, my granny used to cook nicely. I love my cooking. Or, it's nice to, to sit and enjoy and just watch all these people. And often, people don't on the one hand, people think because they're buying a franchise, that a franchise will run on its own.
Oh, yeah.
Message to everybody, it will not.
Yep.
Yes, please. And that's why I'm so passionate about franchising, is because you've bought a proven model, a proven brand, with a proven economic model.
Yes.
And all the structures and everything are there. So yes, it is easier, but I'm not saying it's easy. It's easier, but you still need to operate it. You still need to put in the work. You still need to put in the, make sure that the economic model works. Make sure that the systems and processes work. So there are really, really so many things, to consider. But franchising, I'm going to say, is not a way out.
Yep.
If you're looking for an easy life. Yes, you can. Please, I know of many incredible franchisees that own, and this is perhaps it's an answer to your second part.
Sure.
That have got 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 stores. And it can be of different brands, but they first worked it. They really, really first worked it. And then what they've done is created like their own head office level, with their own stores reporting to them. So they have put in all the structures, the systems, the processes, and the leadership, to ensure that they're able to scale.
100%.
And that is really, really key.
And I'm glad you mentioned that, because clearly there's a way of doing franchising correctly that can actually grow the opportunities that you have in the market, and even expand on the number of outlets that you have. And maybe talk to us about, what establishing your own head office looks like, the management of systems and processes, making sure that you have the right labor force, and tap into the support of the franchisor. What does that look like, and what does it entail to drive the necessary success we desire?
Yes, so one of the key things is that, so what's also happening and it's really happening globally, a lot more in Europe and the States and that, where you've got many multi-unit franchisees. Okay, we've got them here, but there's multi-unit and multi-brand, what they call mumbos.
Ooh, so what's the difference
Multi-unit,
there?
multi-brand.
Got you.
Operators. Multi-unit, multi-brand operators.
Okay.
Where they are franchisees, they can even have up to 2, 3, 4, 500 stores from different brands. So on the one hand, if you think about it, you've got the support from the franchisor, from all of these brands, but you at the same time want to ensure that your businesses are running even more profitably together with the franchisor. So what happens is that a lot of these multi-units, so maybe just let me refer to multi-unit operators right now.
So multi-unit is sorry, just for clarity, multi-unit is
no, go for it.
If I own one brand of a chicken outlet, or we use famous brands, Mug and Bean as an example. That's if I own multiple Mug and Beans. Multi-brand, I'm assuming, is when I own a Mug and Bean and a Fisherways and a Debonair's, and under the same company, I'm assuming. Would that be correct?
Yes.
Got you.
Yes, absolutely. Multi-unit, multi-brand.
Got you.
And some even can own a Spur, they can own a Nando's, so that's definitely something that is growing, because franchisors really, first of all, a franchisor loves a very high-performing franchisee. Mm-hmm. Because even though everybody's got money in that, it still takes a certain individual, even though they've got the money, still takes a certain individual to be able to operate their business correctly. Mm-hmm. So if you're a proven franchisee, most of the time the franchisor locations and taking that all into account. But they will want to appoint you because they've seen what you've done. You've got a proven history. And so that what happens, so you've got the great support, like I was saying, of a franchisor. You are putting up all that support, and plus you go and create your own what I call area managers, franchise managers that operate like business consultants, business coaches, wherever your stores are. So they're really getting so much support, and it's proven that they've actually got a much higher success rate. If you combine everything together.
Got you. That takes a lot of coaching and support, I presume, but also individuals who are self-starters, Larry. So are there, I guess, entrepreneurs who are better suited to be franchisees than others?
Oh, absolutely. First of all, some entrepreneurs cannot be franchisees.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to, and I'll just share a story very quickly. So at Mug & Bean, it was a guy, Ben from Malta, who started Mug & Bean, and a brilliant man, a brilliant mentor for me. And my office was about 20 meters away. And so many times I would hear him on the phone, franchising is not a democracy, but he was shouting, because people come in. You must remember, when you're joining a franchise, it's like joining a club. It says you can only wear these clothes. This is how you must be. Arrive here, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So you're buying a business with a set of rules. And franchisee and sometimes entrepreneurs don't think that far into it. And they think, oh, great, this is a great way for me to go and make a business. And they see it. But then what happens, then they think, oh, you know what, I'd like to maybe change this product. I'd like to change this. I'd like to change that. But remember, you brought a brand. You bought a brand with standards and systems and processes. You cannot go and change it, because that's what makes a successful brand. Mm-hmm. And so some entrepreneurs struggle with that. So my advice, if you're a true entrepreneur who doesn't want to be confined, who likes doing their own things, who's prepared to be courageous, because that's what a true entrepreneur for me is, really willing to, a term, but I didn't want to mention it now, really willing to take that chance and be courageous. Franchising is not actually suitable for you.
Got you.
But if you're an entrepreneur and you're willing to work within the brand guidelines with a proven model, proven economic model, and proven brand and everything, I really believe it's a great opportunity here. And most people, if they really work it, can make it succeed.
Got you. So what does it take to work it, Larry? And maybe let's touch on that, especially where scaling becomes an opportunity. I ask this because we never know who's listening. Someone might be keen to get into the franchising environment. What does it take, or what will it take for them to be competitive?
Look, so one of the first things is, if you're coming into a business and you do not know anything about that business, I'm definitely going to recommend you work that business. Yeah. You work that business, open and close, at least for the first, I'm going to say 6 months. I will not open and close for the first 6 months, but at least the first 2-3 months, you open and closing, because you're getting to understand, because great franchisors will provide you with full training.
Yep.
Okay? And that doesn't mean you're joining a franchisor and they're only training you for 2 weeks and saying, okay, cool, now go and open up your store. Now, please, then rather do not go with that franchisor.
Yeah.
But a proper franchisor is going to take you through a full 3 to 6 month training process where you go through the whole process. But remember, you're still in training. But when you open up your own store, yes, the trainings and everything's going to help. But now you're really applying what's actually happening. You're really seeing what's actually happening. Because when it's your own business, you see things differently.
Exactly.
So my recommendation is you really, really work it, but bring in a manager who's going to assist you. But remember, your manager, when you're not there, must be just as good as you or better.
100%.
And this is key, because they don't some people don't understand the importance of bringing in the correct individual. So they go and work it, they do a good job, but then they begin pulling themselves out. But if you don't have that correct leader, cracks are going to show along the way.
Oh, so important.
So what you're asking, it's a lot of hard work, but if you're prepared to put in those first three months, really hard graft and work it, you're also going to see, and then you're going to start putting in further systems and processes that are specifically customized for your own store.
100%. Oh, I could talk to you all day, Larry. I love it because you're giving us such practical tools and insight from your experience and obviously the work that you do, giving the support that you provide for entrepreneurs. Thank you again for your time, sir. We'll have to leave it there for tonight.
Really appreciate it. Thanks, Gugu. And
Thank you.
Have a great show.
Likewise. Have a good evening. That's Larry Hodes. He's the CEO of Grow Franchising and board member of Franchise Association of South Africa, known as FASA. And he mentioned something so important there, right? Is actually understanding what is that thing that will make you competitive. So, yes, maybe you want to make a quick buck and you think, well, I'll open up a chicken outlet or a burger joint or maybe sell pies or, you know what, help people get their nails done. But the truth is it takes a lot more work than just buying into a franchising license and then operating it as though you're on holiday. It takes a lot of commitment, understanding the operations and systems that are in place. And actually, as he mentioned, multi-unit versus multi-brand. That's part of the competitive nature. When you get one thing right, then there's an opportunity to open up multiple units of the same brand. So it's a pizza place and I have multiple of them. But it's a different thing if I have a pizza place, an ice cream store, a hair salon, and maybe even a retailer. Then all of those to build up multi-brand. But share your thoughts with us. There is so much to discuss and so much more to learn. 063-688-0959. Looking forward to your voice notes. It is 12 minutes to 8 o'clock.
On the street.
On the air.
Online.